chapter 4, we're looking to saying that financial is not a set and forget. Hey there. Welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. This is the place where faith, finances, and kingdom authority collide. If you're tired of the world's way of doing money and you're ready to let Yah's wisdom lead, you're in the right place. Let's step into radical godly stewardship, bold obedience, and kingdom wealth. We're doing it God's way. I am Dr. Lexi Johnson, and I am super excited that you are here today. If you are, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, let us know who you are, where you're watching from. We always love to acknowledge those who take the time out of their day to just join us, right? We thank you so much. All right, so guys, this is episode number 53. This is episode number 53. And today we're going to talk about what do you do when you suddenly receive a lump sum of money, right? Now, if you saw the title, particularly for those of you who will watch the replay, you will get to see the title before the ones actually watching live. If you saw the title, it says lump sums are a test, right? Lump sums are a test. And we're going to talk about that today. So when I say receiving lump sums of money, it could be a tax refund, it could be a bonus, it could be retroactive benefits, it could be class action payments, it could be insurance reimbursements, inheritance, large refunds, severance. It can even be a surprise love offering, right? And most people aren't necessarily destroyed by the paycheck in and of itself. Most people are destroyed by the increase, right? Have you ever experienced where you did get those increases on your paycheck, right? But it seems like you can't tell, right, that you have gotten the increases. And I don't mean because the increases were that low either. I mean, they were decent increases. I remember a period of time in my life where I had gotten like 3 increases within a span of a year, good increases. And I still felt like I was living paycheck to paycheck. And there was a reason for that, right? Oh, hold on one second. I was supposed to turn on. There we go. There was a reason for that, right? The more I was making, the more I was spending, right? So when you receive when you receive lump sums, on top of that, lump sums are actually going to expose your stewardship. Yep, that's exactly what they're going to do. Okay. Lump sums expose your stewardship just like pressure exposes like cracks in concrete, right? Like pressure on, when you build a home and then you start to have those foundation cracks and things like that, right? It's the pressure exposes, those things that weren't really as tight as they should have been. And that's what lump sums of money does to you and to I, right? They expose those cracks. Okay. So we're going to talk about lump sums today with tax season approaching, with retroactive government payments hitting accounts, right? Because they had been laying folks off and then they said they would, retroactively pay them, with bonuses coming in. And even with the government shutdown, creating like a back pay, as I already said, in some sectors, this is the right time. This is the right time to have this conversation. I also felt it was the right time because I don't know, in this particular season, and when I say season, like over the last 3 or 4 months or so, I have had an increase of clients coming to me specifically with increases. So we're going to talk about that. All right. Before we get into that, though, we're going to, as we normally do, we're going to do our stewardship check-in. That's right. We're going to do our stewardship check-in. So let me ask you a few questions. And remember, our stewardship check-in is not about condemning anyone, but it is about locating ourselves, right? To figure out where we are and where we need to go. And our stewardship check-ins are always, for the most part, they are relatively, not relatively, they are related to the topic at hand. So, when was the last time you received a lump sum? When was the last time you received a lump sum? And where is it now? Right? I can think of so many times when I have received lump sums in the past, so many times. And even a couple of times that have been here of late, right? And I couldn't even tell you what happened to it, where'd it go. I don't know, right? But what about you? When was the last time you received a lump sum and where is it now? Second, did you have a plan before the money arrived, right? And we're going to talk about that plan too, because some people, say they have a plan. They do put a plan in place, but it's actually probably most cases not the right plan, right? Did you prioritize solvency or satisfaction? Did you prioritize solvency or your satisfaction? If you don't know what solvency means, we're going to be talking about that as well. Did you give emotionally before you stabilized your life? Did you give emotionally before you stabilized your life? We're going to talk about that. Did you spend from relief instead of wisdom? And are you relying on unexpected money to fix predictable problems? Okay, so that we're going to touch on a lot of that today. Hey, Ernestine, good to see you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I pray you are well and your family is well today. So, listen, stewardship isn't judged in your regular income, it's revealed in your increase. Okay. And you guys let me know if you're hearing me. Okay. Way I tend not to be right up on top of the mic. Um, but I don't know, sometimes maybe I need to be. I don't know. So let me know if you're not hearing me well. Okay, so let's get into our next segment. Let's get into our kingdom clarity segment. Okay. And once again, make sure, well, I don't say make sure, but if you feel led to, please tag someone in the comments, let them know we're here, or share this episode on your pages, because I'm sure that there are other people that who can use this information. All right. So today, again, we're talking about lump sums, right? So increase is a test, not a payday, right? And we do the reverse. So when we have an increase coming, we're like, oh, payday is coming, right? No, 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 no. For the kingdom citizen, when we have an increase, a lump sum that is coming, that is a test. Proverbs 21:20 says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Okay. And you might be like, well, that's just talking about food and, storing food. Yeah, it can be talking about food quite literally, but it really is just talking about resources in general. And we all know that money is a resource. Okay. It is a source that comes from the Almighty Yah. So, because He is the source. All right. So here's what a lump sum will reveal. All right. Any guesses in the comments? Any guesses before I actually get into this list? What do you think lump sums actually reveal about you? What do you think lump sums, when you receive it and you begin to do whatever you do with it, what does it actually reveal about you? All right. So here's my list. Now, you may have some more to add to this list or not. This list is not by any means a list that is all inclusive, right? But here's what lump sums will say about you. Here's what lump sums will say about me. What you do with the lump sums when you receive them is going to reveal or expose your spiritual maturity. Okay. It is going to also reveal or expose your emotional stability. All right. Yes. Good to see you, Prophetess Madge. Yes, it's going to reveal where your heart is. That is for sure. People often think that, oh, when I get this amount of money, then, I'm going to go out and do all this good in the world. And I'm going to go do all this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. No, money is only going to expose who you already are, right? And as we go through this list, that's exactly what we're talking about. Um, Prophetess Match says, are you preparing for your future or living in the now? Absolutely. It is going to expose that as well. It is also going to expose, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about lump sums. Okay. That's what we're talking about today. And the fact that they are not a payday, they are a test, right? So lump sums are also going to expose your identity issues. Yes, they are. You like, how so? Okay, well, we're gonna talk about it. They also expose your financial discipline. Okay, whether you have it, don't have it, it is going to expose it. Hey, Amanda, good to see you this afternoon. Lump sums are also going to expose your fear or your faith. And lump sums are also going to expose your stewardship integrity. Okay, so that's just a few of the things that lump sums are going to expose about you. Okay, so earlier in our first segment in our stewardship check in, I asked you to think about when was the last time you received a lump sum and where is it now? What now, as we have talked about some of the things that it exposes, what did that most recent lump sum expose about you? Okay. You don't have to put it in the comments if you don't want to. I realize this is, the internet, folks can see things all over the world. But if there is a brave soul out there who wants to put it in the comments, testify because our testimonies help others, feel free to do so. Okay. I know for me that there have been many times in the past that the lump sums have exposed my immaturity, my spiritual immaturity. It exposed fear, right? Because I was getting that money and now I'm trying to take care of things out of fear. Just all sums have exposed in me, right, that I had to deal with and continue to deal with, right? Because just because you get better at managing lump sums along the way doesn't mean that those temptations still don't come, those thoughts still don't come, right? So typically what happens, Ernestine said, I just like to spend. Okay, thank you so much for being honest, right? So I just like to spend. Amanda says, I give my money away. Yes, we're going to talk about that, Amanda. Just giving our money away. And sometimes we think that's a good thing, but it's not always a good thing. And I'll tell you an instance in which it's not good. Okay. Um, Also lack of knowledge on how money works. For sure, for sure, for sure. All right. So most people blow a lump sum because they're in financial survival mode. Okay. When the money hits the account, the brain switches, right? And it switches to things like, well, I deserve this, right? I need to treat myself. People are going to expect something from me. Okay. That's that part of giving. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got all this money. Well, people are going to expect from me. Maybe somebody did something for me and now I'm feeling beholden to do something for them back, right? Some people are like, oh, finally I can breathe, right? And so they just spend because they think they have all this breathing room in the world, right? And then some people are thinking, well, let me catch up emotionally before I catch up financially. Okay. But here's the thing, as a kingdom steward, all those thoughts that I just mentioned, we have to flip all of that. Okay. When I'm coaching my clients, the first thing, hey, Jacob, good to see you. Thanks for watching all the way from Ghana. Thank you so much. And you're doing amazing work as well. Okay. Um, in fact, everyone, if you're listening, Jacob has a program that's going on right now where they are collecting monies for an orphanage. Jacob, feel free to drop if you have a link or something or a flyer or something or whatever in the chat. Feel free to do that. Okay. I've already donated, everyone. So y'all know how I am. If I say something about it, like I've already given to that cause. Okay. So kingdom stewardship. In kingdom stewardship, there is something called solvency. Okay. That comes first, always. Okay. Somebody can put it in the chat. Solvency. Okay. I'll spell it SOLVENCY. Solvency. Okay. Get used to that word. All right. Um, because here's the thing, you cannot build wealth without solvency. You can't give consistently without solvency. You can't invest wisely without solvency. You can't lead financially without solvency. And you certainly cannot manage any increase responsibly without solvency. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 23 says that be diligent to know the state of your flocks. So that means before you do anything, okay? Y'all hear what I said? Before you do anything, any means absolutely any, right? I don't know if y'all live somewhere else where any means something else, but any means any and anything. Okay. Before you do anything with a lump sum, you must first stabilize your home. That is the first thing. Okay. Is to stabilize your home. Now, I'm obviously speaking to people whose homes aren't stabilized. What does that mean? You don't have an emergency fund, you don't have retirement, or you have very little of it. You don't have life insurance. You don't have, the first bit of bad news that comes is going to be over, right? So I'm talking about those types of things. And we'll get back to that in just a moment. First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2 reminds us that it is required of stewards, right? And who are the stewards? If we are kingdom citizens, it is you and it is I. We are the stewards. It is required of stewards that they be found faithful. Okay. Not frantic, faithful. Not impulsive, faithful. Not performing financially for others, faithful, right? Not guilty when you choose stewardship over appeasement, right? But faithful. We must be found faithful. Okay. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you're getting a lump sum, you must have a lump sum allocation plan. I love it when I have clients who reach out to me before the lump sum comes. Okay. I have some that reach out to me as soon as they get it, and that's okay too. And then I have some who reach out to me, they spend some of it after they've spent some of it first, right? I love it when a client reaches out to me before it comes in, right? Because not having an allocation plan before it comes in is where the failure occurs. Before any giving, before any spending, before any celebration, before any upgrades, you have to ask yourself, is my house stable? Is my house stable? Now, some of you might think that when I say solvency, most people, the first thing they think is, oh, I need to go pay all the bills. And I'm going to caution you about that as well. Because what we don't want to do is go pay all the bills and then you're down to zero again. Because guess what? You're going to find yourself, you're going to feel good for a moment, right? I'm down to zero. I don't have any bills. Everything is paid off, right? But the very next day, when something happens, right? And I'm saying the very next day, it could be the next week, it could be the next month, but whatever it is, right? Whenever it happens, you're going to be back in a hole again. Why? Because you are down to zero. You're down to zero. Okay. So what we want to do is to make sure that you have an emergency fund, right? If you don't have one at all, and depending on the lump sum that comes in, for some people, if it's a smaller lump sum, I might be like, okay, $1,000, right? Or if it's even smaller, if it's a smaller lump sum than that, I don't know, but you need to put a good portion towards an emergency fund, right? If you don't have any insurance, private personal insurance, not the insurance through your job, because you don't own the insurance through your job, that can go away. Okay. You don't own that. Your job can definitely decide we're not funding people's insurance anymore. We're not doing that. Okay. So you got to have your own um, life insurance. We'll say for another time the different types and what kind is best for you and all that kind of stuff. That's another show. But you got to have that. You got to have, what are you doing for retirement, right? Most people are not on track, not even close, right? So there's that. And then there's other things that need to be considered so that if something were to happen to your household, you're solvent, right? Do you have a financial buffer, right? What are you doing, in terms of, because most people are like, oh, got this lump sum. Okay, let's go travel. Let's go, here and there. And you're having a good time on the vacation. Maybe you are, right? Because when you get back, you don't have nothing. And I've been there where you got all your money together and you're like, I'm taking this vacation. I deserve it. And you're on the vacation and you're enjoying it, but you can't quite enjoy it because when you come back, you're in a hole again, right? So we want to make sure that those things are in place. Those things are in place first, and then we begin to address the debt and what bills are past due, how to catch up, which ones to catch up on, how to catch up. Like you have to strategize about all of that, right? Um, any high risk debt, that's the debt you want to take care of first. That's like title loans, payday loans, predatory balances, things with very high interest, right? So you want to take care of those things first. And when I say take care of those things, I don't always mean just go it off. I mean, sometimes you may call them and say, hey, can we renegotiate the interest rate? Okay. And there's a way to talk to them about that so that they it comes out in your favor. Um, but that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying attacking the high interest stuff first, right? Can we renegotiate this rate? Um, get that rate down. Try that first before just paying things, right? Or maybe it's paying things to a certain degree to maybe like pay 80% of it, but not 100%, right? And I might advise somebody to do that. You'd be like, why not pay the whole thing off if I have it? It depends on where you are with your credit and all of those things, because one of the things that credit uh, is particularly here in the US, when we're talking about credit, one of the things they want to see is that you have the ability to handle debt over time. They don't want to see that you can just, it's been, um, you've been not so good with it so far. And now you just got all this lump sum and pay it off. And okay, now we're looking at you favorably again. No, it doesn't work like that. Okay. Hi, Francesca. Good to see you. Happy Thursday to you as well. Okay. So you want to be strategic about these things. And that's why it is important that you see a financial professional like myself if you have a huge lump sum that is coming in, so that we can help you strategize how to best use that lump sum so that you are solvent. Okay. And you can take care of some of the other things that may be going on, right? So after building your emergency fund, creating sinking funds, preparing for predictable expenses, strategically paying off certain bills or paying them down, whatever the case may be, then um, another area that we can look at, and I'm not saying like these are the exact steps. Sometimes it's different depending on the person and what they already have and don't have. All right. The next area that I want to talk about is purpose based giving. Okay. Not guilt giving, purpose based giving. Okay. Not forced giving, not just transactional, like I'm just doing this because I have to giving, purpose based giving. Okay. What did I say, y'all? Did I put it in the chat? Somebody put it in the chat. Purpose based giving. Okay. So even that, you should have a giving um, plan, a giving strategy, right? Giving out of guilt is not godly generosity, right? The Bible says that Yah loves a cheerful giver. Okay. Yah loves a cheerful giver, not somebody who's giving out of guilt, out of obligation, out of force, out of whatever. Cheerful giver. So giving is supposed to be spirit led. It is also supposed to be purposeful, because why does Yah give us resources anyway? Right? To fulfill purpose. And our overall purpose as a collective group of kingdom citizens is to win souls and make disciples. That's the overall purpose. So anything that we're doing within our own lives, outside of the group is to feed that. So our giving is supposed to be spirit led, it's supposed to be purposeful, and it's supposed to be aligned with kingdom assignment. It is not supposed to be emotional, reactionary, or performative. Do I need to say that again? Do I need to say that again? Okay. It is spirit led, purposeful, and aligned with kingdom assignment. Not emotional, not reactionary, not performative. Okay. Why do you think when people are, making appeals for money that they make these emotional appeals? Because we are a people who will make decisions based on our emotions. From the beginning of time. Okay. Beginning of time. Now, yes, Yah may tell you to give, but he also may tell you to save. Okay. So stewardship is not disobedience. When people say, oh, well, you're giving instruction, isn't it just kind of disobedient? No, just because you give out of emotion doesn't make it obedient. Okay. So purpose-based giving, not just giving just because, oh, I feel guilty. It got this, somebody, you forever, somebody did this for me. I need to now scratch their back, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that stuff is nice. Okay. And what do they call that? It's a word for it. It starts for R, like when you give and, give back. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, in and of itself. But if it comes riddled with guilt or, it's a burden or anything like that, it's not cheerful, none of that, don't do it. Okay. But also, as I've been saying here, you want to make sure that you are solvent, because how can you be of help consistently in the kingdom when you yourself are not solvent, right? Now, if you're not solvent, it doesn't excuse you from giving per se, right? But you got work to do, okay? So, purpose based spending lasts, right? That is the kind of the purpose-based giving and purpose-based spending. That's where enjoyment is. That's where celebration is. That's where desires are, right? So solvency, strategy, stability, stewardship, okay? These are all things, if you have a lump sum coming in, these are the words that you want to have playing around in your mind, okay? It is very easy for us when we know we have a lump sum to start thinking about purchase this, got to get that, got to pay this bill, got to do that, got to give this back to this person, got to do blah, 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 XYZ, yada, yada, yada. Before you know it, you have spent that whole thing and you have nothing to show for it, nowhere to go, back to zero. And then what? You're back to getting the loans or using the credit cards or whatever the case may be, right? Back in the same position. And I don't know about you all, okay? But at some point in my life, I got tired of that, okay? And I hope that if this is what you're experiencing, that you're tired of it too, and that you want to do something different, okay? All right. So I always love to give you guys something very practical to do. So we started talking about with the stewardship check-in, talking about when was the last time you received a lump sum and where is it now? Okay. I want you to continue in that vein. I actually want you to write it down. Okay. What did you do with it? Okay. What did you do with it? Write it down. Did you prioritize solvency? And I've already told you some of the things that are included in solvency, right? Did you prioritize those things, right? Where did you react emotionally instead of strategically? And we like to think that, oh, yeah, I planned on being strategic. I pay all the bills off, right? Like that's what I'm supposed to do. And it's like, no, okay, no, because you just set yourself up for being in a hole again. Okay. What are you going to do differently next time? What are you going to do differently next time? My hope is, okay, that you will um, create a kingdom based allocation plan for that lump sum. But even more so than that, if you don't know how to do that, that you would reach out to someone, to a professional who can help you do that, right? And I know some people are like, no, do that. Listen, what you pay them to just help you come up with a plan will be pennies in the bucket compared to what that money will do for you over time. That's just the bottom line. Okay. So you're going to create a written plan for the next lump sum before it arrives. Now, most people, the next lump sum could be income taxes that's coming around coming around soon. For some people, there's some of you right now that are, sitting, there's an inheritance that's coming your way. For others, there were some things that had been in probate and now they're getting ready to issue you, whatever the rest of it belongs to you. There's all kinds of, there's all kinds of things. I'm currently waiting a class action payout. Okay. So I have to be very strategic. I can't be sitting here like, okay, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna blah. No, I got to sit and be strategic. Okay. Where am I in terms of solvency? Because solvency is first. Where am I in terms of that? Do I need to beef up one of those areas within solvency? Right. Then from there, the next priority and the next priority and the next priority. Okay. So plans eliminate the panic or just eliminate the emotional, spending or the whatever. Because if you don't trust me, it will go. I'm going to share this one story with you all and then we're going to get out of here. But hey, Ace, good to see you, AC. Good to see you. Hey Jay, good to see you as well. So I'm going to share this one story with you. I've shared it before. It's been a while though since I've shared it. I so a lady was referred to me. She was getting this lump sum, and it was a huge lump sum. Okay, huge lump sum, several six figures. Okay, lump sum, and we made a plan. Okay, she was referred to me, so the person who referred her, kudos to them, they gave her some good advice. For her coming to me, actually reaching out to me, kudos to her, right? And so we making the plan. We made a plan before the lump sum actually arrived. The lump sum arrived. Now listen, because at every step it's important that you are being led by the spirit. Okay, because the enemy will try to infiltrate at any step. So don't think that, oh, because you made the plan that you're good. No, you have to watch for the enemy because he'll infiltrate at any step. He don't care. Okay. So the plan was made. Money came in. We were supposed to get together so I can, And at that time, I had time where I could actually just kind of walk with people to do, to do various things. So we were supposed to meet, right, at our bank so I can help her take her very first few steps. Well, that time came. I'm calling, hey, we're supposed to meet, blah, blah, blah. Where are you? I'm getting the voicemail, getting the voicemail, right? So few days later, well, not a few days, about a week, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later, the woman calls me and she is crying, boo-hooing. What's going on? Money came, right? The son, she had a couple of sons, but one of them was saying to her, well, you don't even know that that person, that advisor that's telling you to do this and that with the money, or that's what he called me. I don't know what an advisor then, but that's what he was calling me. You don't even know her, you don't even know her, right? You don't even know her. You should listen to your family. So, but what he wanted some stuff. So she bought him a car and some other things. I believe she did something else for the other son. She had an ex-husband, if I remember right, or husband, I can't remember if it was ex-husband or a husband, who had been released from prison around that time. Now here he is, and now he's sniffing around. And so money was given to him, right? Long story short, you remember this story, Jay? Long story short, her money's gone. Her money is gone. She was not solvent. Okay. That was part of our plan. We had already had everything, every move that she was going to make from step 1 to step 25. Like, it was laid out. All you have to do is follow it, right? She was not solvent. She did not, not any one of those steps for solvency, right? So here she is just 2 weeks later. Oh, and she gave some money to friends because they needed some things, right? And she felt, that she should because they had helped her in the past. And so, a couple weeks later, multiple six figures now, y'all, gone. Then she called me again about a month after that call, boo-hooing again. Why? Because one of the friends that she had given money to now is not even trying to pay her back, because the person told her they would pay her back, right? They're not even trying to pay her back. She's crying again. And I'm like, ma'am, I don't know. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do at this point? What do you want me to do? When I was coaching you, I even told you these things would come up, because I did. I told her, I said, family's going to come around and they're going to need, all of a sudden, they're going to need things, big things from you. Friends, everybody's coming out of the woodwork. You're wondering like how they even know, because some people didn't even know. There was some that knew, which I had even told her about that. You don't tell people, okay? Like, you just don't tell people you coming into stuff, right? So you had some new, and then you had people that just didn't even know, but here they came sniffing around, right? Needing some things. They didn't know, but that also is the work of the enemy. There's something called familiar spirits, right? So people can come around, they're asking for stuff. They don't even have to know anything. The enemy knows. And so the enemy will use them, right? Yes, Jay, she was warned. And I do that with all my clients. Like, look, the enemy will show his face. He will show his face, and he will begin to, say, oh no, you got this plan, but this over here, what needs to be done. Right? So she listened to all these people. I don't know where that lady is today. This has been, it's been several years. It's been several years, maybe 8, 10 years. I know it was before. Yeah, anyway, it's been about 8, 10 years, but I don't know where this lady is now. I don't know what's going on with her now, but I just know she called me a few times, just kind of boo-hooing, and I'll pray with her. But I mean, like, what else, what can I do? What can I do? Right? So I really don't want that happening to you all. or to people that you know, not when you can simply reach out to me and have me help you come up with a plan. Okay. What you have to pay for that plan is going to be pennies in the bucket. Okay. Compared to what you can then look back and say, oh, look, this is what I have now as a result of. Okay. As a result of this. All right. So I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to just reiterate that when you get lump sums are just not paydays, they are a test. Okay. And most people are one lump sum away from repeating the same financial cycles that have been going on in their lives, in their family forever, right? But you don't have to be, okay? And I've a couple of ways in which you can address that, right? You can see me, we can do a one-off, plan to to help you allocate how to do that lump sum. And that's great, okay? You can definitely do that. But I also advise I have a 90-day coaching experience called Financial Rebellion that gives you the system, the structure, and the solvency first strategy that you have been missing so that you don't have to keep coming to me every time you get a lump sum, right? You can learn how to do this for yourself so that you can break cycles, you can stabilize your life, and you can finally build wealth God's way. Right now, the doors are open for Financial Rebellion, my 90-day coaching experience for just $249. Now, normally this program goes for over $3,000, and I'm not kidding. Okay, you can go to one of my websites, you will see that that is the price. Okay, um, in this season though, with everything that we have going on in our economy and in the world, I was like, I don't want people to have any excuse as to why they can't get the help that they need, right? I dropped the cost because in this season of financial disruption, I don't want you to have any excuse not to get the help you need. Okay. So the link is in the description. It is bit.ly/ join the rebellion 2026. Okay. It's in the like I said, it's in the description. The cycle. Okay. If you find yourself saying, like, yeah, I had that lump sum, that lump sum, that lump sum. I've had tons of lump sums over the years, and I don't know what I I can't even tell you, right? Listen, it's time to cut that out. Okay. We need to break that cycle for good. All right. And Jaya say, yeah, y'all get with the program, okay? Because she's been in it. All right. She can testify. And so can all the others who have gone before you. They can testify to that fact. And also those who very recently that I have been helping them with their lump sums, they can testify. Ernestine says, I am ready. Y'all, Ernestine joined a couple of weeks ago. So I'm truly looking forward to working with her and others who have already joined. But there's some of you right now that you're watching and you keep going back and forth, back and forth. Some of you have even told me, you know what, I need to be in there. And you've been telling me for the last year, okay? Can you just make it happen? Okay? Make it happen. Okay? Promise you, God is faithful. Not me. God is faithful. All right. So that's it for today. We went a little long, but thanks for hanging in there. Remember, tag someone in the comments or share this out so that they can learn too what they need to do with their lump sums. And we'll talk with you guys next time. God bless you. And see you next Thursday, 12:30 Eastern. Bye. Oh, until then, produce, multiply, and dominate. Bye.